Good morning. Sometimes believing in something is not and being passionate about it is outstanding, but what's more important is who, what, when, and where are you in this vision and in this reality that you want to create. So, initially, as I told you, this was dedicated to the back to the world of the soldiers returning from Afghanistan and Iraq. And so, basically, it was centered around the theme of working for peace. We have become the new Assyrians. We hate war, but we seem to love our warriors, and we are historically a warlike nation. And President Eisenhower warned us that the military and the monetary, they get together whenever it's necessary. And with Congress, you can make a whole lot of money off of war, but you can't make no money off of peace. And peace is not the absence of war. Peace is the absence of the talk of war and the preparation for war. From being a warlike nation, sort of almost like the 21st century Assyrians, from mercenaries to the cemetery. What are some of the military interventions since World War II that we've been involved in? Well, there's Lebanon, which we were securing our interest in the Middle East. Korea, which is still an unsettled issue between North and South, that we remain to have probably 27,000 troops on the DMZ. There was Vietnam, a quagmire as it has been described, and none of these were really wars in the true sense of World War II. Then there's been Afghanistan. Don't forget about Grenada also, but Vietnam, Grenada, Afghanistan, and Iraq. And what are the next future shocks that we might face? Who's next in 2021 geopolitics? Well, on a short list, you got to have the Middle East, you got to have the South China Seas, Ukraine, the former Soviet sphere of influence, now teetering towards the West. The Middle East and Israel and Palestinian relations will dominate the last part of this decade, as well as the United States coming face to face with Iran in some type of diplomacy or confrontation. China is poised to clamp down on Hong Kong and threaten Taiwan. The Russian-Ukrainian situation is bigger than the Ukraine, and so, in the street vernacular, you like European Union, where you be? Back to the World is about what the young men coming back from Vietnam, Curtis Mayfield and Envision might have felt. You could almost smell the smell of diesel fuel as those big Chinook helicopters transported soldiers to the airport, and they took off in those big giant cargo transport planes, and all you could smell was diesel, and they were going back to the world. War is hell, and no one understood that much as a young man like Timothy McVeigh, who had a need for external validation after being rejected from Ranger School, and it resulted in the perception that his own country was against him, and he became radicalized reading the Turner Diary, a book that is read and should not be read by budding, young, disillusioned, disenchanted white supremacists. But this book, which has resulted in this American boy blowing up the Merrill building in Oklahoma City, killing nearly 200 people, many children, in 1995, and he himself later executed for their deaths. Then there's the military at the 2021 rebellion on the Capitol, and we know what that has been, and we know that many of these people involved in the rebellion were military, retired, or had some white supremacist leanings, and sources the U.S. Defense Department. We want our military to defend us against authoritarian governments who seek to thwart our democratic way of life. Nation over party, make America new is our call sign. On this day, as we come back to the world, we certainly hope that, as Ed has said, that those young girls are seen as our daughters, and they're the daughters of the world, and that the world reject the Taliban's way of living and treating their citizens in the 21st century. We sure pray for peace, but as I told you, you can't make no money off of peace, but you got to work for peace always. Thank you. Peace be with you. This is Randy's Rant podcast. Boomer and X.